What ho, chaps, how's it going? Another busy weekend? Watched the fight on Saturday? Well, went to the boozer, got shit-faced, and inevitably saw some boxing. I feel like it's relevant to the videos I always make about the BBC, because Tyson Fury is a man that has uniformly been smeared continuously by the BBC and totally ignored. They used to fucking love reporting on him about his religious beliefs, basically saying that he wasn't cool with gay marriage. And the issue I have with this is, as always, not that I agree with his comments, because I don't. I'm not a religious fucking man. I've got zero interest in organised religion. Because I'm a libertarian, I feel they have a very narrow worldview that sort of pigeonholes everyone and everything. So it's not that I agree with Tyson Fury on the issue, but at the end of the day, as always, the man's entitled to his fucking opinion, isn't he? This is sort of like Gestapo bullshit when we've got this world we live in where apparently you're not even allowed to have an opinion that the fucking far left don't like. He didn't say anything particularly hateful. And if you check out their page, Sports Personality of the Year, which to any Americans listening is like it's basically a national award where there's a shortlist published by the BBC and then the public choose someone to be, the top sports athlete, sportsman or sportswoman of the year. Ben Stokes won it in 2019. And if anyone doesn't know, Ben Stokes got a lot of shit off the BBC because he chinned a bloke outside a nightclub. Not a good thing to do. But again, the general public is not as judgmental as far-left activists are. And I think the fact he won was the general public making a point that, he's got his demons, he has his flaws, and he's had a few problems, but so what? He seems like a decent fella, and he's got a good bit of crack about him, and he's popular with people, and he's, most importantly, because it's the fucking sports personality of the year, not woke hero of the decade, he's a fucking good cricketer, which is surely the main point. The argument I want to make is simply this. Ben Davison, his former trainer, says, if Tyson doesn't get a return parade, this country needs to seriously take a long look at itself. And it fucking does. Tyson Fury has done loads of shit for charity. He gave his entire purse from his last fight with Wilder to men's health and homeless charities. The full fucking lot. The entire purse. He's very active with charities. He does a lot for people. And I'm willing to wager the BBC don't even nominate him because they don't like his religious beliefs. Well, I don't like the Pope's fucking daft hat, but if he does something moral and decent, the man should get some credit for it. And if Tyson Fury doesn't end up with Sports Personality of the Year this year, I'll be fucking amazed. The man deserves the credit for what he's done, not just for boxing, but for charities. And at the end of the day, he's got personality. He's a good crack. The bloke deserves some credit for it. I think it's fucking shocking if he doesn't get the nod. And people need to fucking have a word with themselves. Like, again, how tolerant and liberal are you if you've got some sort of PC mafia that doesn't let people disagree? I disagree with Tyson Fury about gay marriage, but the man's fucking entitled to his opinion. He's not hateful, he's not bigoted. Who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, a lot of people are against gay marriage. Well, that's their opinion. Unless you're out waving a fucking Nazi flag or beating gays up or burning the fucking gay bars. Who cares? Whatever happened to that? Oh, I might disagree with you with what you say, but I'll defend to the death the right you say it. No fucker believes that anymore. They love saying it, but Owen Jones doesn't think that. Owen Jones thinks, I disagree with what you say, and if I had my way, you'd be in the fucking gulag, you cunt. That's what they think. We're living in a fucking crazy time. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. It was a fucking good fight. Tyson Fury absolutely brayed the cunt from start to finish. And the only other funny thing to talk about is Deontay Wilder says he's having a rematch with him. And he said that his legs were weak because he wore a 45-pound costume into the ring. If you believe that, you'll fucking believe anything. So the reason he got battered from toe to fucking tip is because he had a heavy costume on for a couple of minutes. Yeah. But that's enough about boxing. Let's see what more comedy fucking goodness is on the BBC this week. They're whinging about Trump's wealth test, saying, it's controversial because he wants to deny residency to migrants who've got fuck all money and are nothing but a drain on everybody's resources. Again, what's controversial about that? Like, I don't understand. Like, when you're a born and raised citizen, like my old fella told me that when he came back from the rigs once, he lost his contract and he was done. So he thought, fuck it, I've been working for 3 months. I'll take a couple of weeks off. No big deal. He said he signed on, and then within fucking 3 days, they're phoning him, the door office. Get a job, get a job, get a job, get a fucking job, get a job. Pestering him. Like, oh, you might have paid income tax for 11 years, you cunt, but now it's time to get yourself back to work, motherfucker. And yet, they've got this idea that it's somehow controversial to have a look at an individual and go, is this cunt going to cost us a fucking fortune or not? They do health checks, like I keep talking about. When I came over to America, it was a massive pain up the arse. I got sexually assaulted by a doctor who had to feel my fucking gonads for some reason. I still don't understand that. I'll put a link into the piece I wrote about it, but the short version is, apparently she said that you can have a Chinese women were getting knocked up and then strapping themselves up so they don't look like women, and then having the baby like as soon as they landed, to try and get a passport. So they said some of them would wear a prosthetic, and the woman really did sort of grab my cock in my medical. It was like a weird sexual assault. So then when I'm discussing immigration with people over here, I'm like, listen, I'm not anti-immigrant. Most working class people aren't. They just want a system, because you have to have order. People are like, no, you can come to America, just don't have a criminal record, don't have fucking numerous sex offences on your record, and don't be carrying any communicable diseases. 3 very basic things, right? Don't be a pervert, don't be a criminal, and don't be diseased. So why is it controversial to add a 4th? Don't be a fucking lazy, bone-idle cunt without 2 pennies to scratch your ass with. Seems logical to me. If we'd have done that in the UK, we might not have the staggering wealth drain on our system like we do. Which, by the way, the BBC completely refused to accept that fucking obvious fact. Like, they love that one. Remember that one? Eastern European migrants add 5 billion to Britain's GDP. Fucking bullshit. I don't know what the National Institute for Economic and Social Research thinks they're doing, but they're full of fucking shit. Because think of this logically. Most of the people that move to the UK from Lithuania and Poland aren't rocket scientists and world-renowned chemists and nuclear physicists. They're working class people like me who don't have a college degree and therefore don't earn massive amounts of money. And if you don't earn hardly any money in the UK, you don't pay hardly any income tax, and yet you have your kids here, you get a council house. It's trivially obvious to anyone with 2 fucking brain cells that are not a net add the poorest countries in Europe. If you include the high earning migrants, then yeah, because they make a shit ton of money, so they'll pay a shit ton of tax. But generally, Eastern European migrants do not add money to our GDP. That is fake fucking news. There's the Telegraph, far more honest than the BBC. Immigration from Europe cost the taxpayer $3 million a day last year. That's 2016. Overall cost of immigration from Europe, including recent arrivals and those that have lived here many decades, was $1.2 billion last year, after deducting benefits from public services such as the NHS. Again, you know this. I knew that without... I read that shit on the BBC, and if you just think about it, you don't need sources, you don't need to be an economist, you just have to think critically for 2 seconds, which obviously Owen fucking Jones and the like just can't do. Just think about it. We can ignore all the figures and just think. If a guy comes to the UK from Lithuania with a high school degree, with diploma and nothing else, 2 GCSEs, and he gets a job as a bin man, and he's making 22 grand a year, how much tax is he paying on 22 grand a year? Fuck all. Like, almost nothing. And yet, he'll have 2 kids, they get schooled here, that costs money. Use the NHS, that costs money. They have the kids here, that costs money. Shit, it costs a couple of grand to just have a kid. They get council houses. Everyone I ever worked with when I was working in New York who was Polish or from Eastern Europe lived in a council house. So you've got council housing, schooling, all general use of infrastructure and services, which is never going to be paid back when you're earning fuck all. We're getting highly skilled migrants from France and Germany, and they've got a good degree from a good university. They will add money to our GDP. The vast majority of them don't, and you don't need to fucking look it up and check the actual statistics. You just have to think critically. It's common fucking dog. which apparently isn't common anymore. So Trump's wealth test, not fucking controversial, common sense. If I was here and they went, all right, Mr. Taylor, why do you want to move to America? And I said, oh, well, because I just fancy it. It looks like a nice place. I'm from Middlesbrough. It's on fire most of the time. I'd like to live somewhere that isn't permanently ablaze. And they say, well, Mr. Taylor, have you got any skills? And I go, no, but I'm a hard worker. And they say, oh, yeah, well, we've got plenty of people who will work hard. And what's this? Oh, it looks like you were once caught wanking outside a children's school. And I'll say, yeah, well, cleared things up now, I'm a good lad really. And they say, oh yeah, and you were also done for tax evasion and you were selling crack. Well, they shouldn't let me in, should they? Because there's logical reasons why I would probably be a net drain on the resources of the United States. So I don't see why this is even controversial. Clearly it should have always been happening. You have a system, you put in controls. You do let immigrants in, but you monitor them, you make sure they're not criminally inclined, and you make sure they've got at least a bit of money and some resources so that they're not going to be an instant drain as soon as they get to the country. Not fucking controversial at all. So there you go. The BBC thinks it's controversial, but every normal human, and I guarantee most immigrants, hard-working Mexican fuckers that come over here and graft, they don't think it's controversial either. The only people who think it's controversial are the BBC, The Guardian, and all the middle-class fucking arseholes that read these two dogshit fucking publications. Kobe Bryant's widow's suing the helicopter firm because she hasn't got enough money. This is funny. Belgian city of Aalst says anti-Semitic parade's just fun. It's only a bit of crack. We just have Orthodox Jews in big furry hats with big noses. No one minds. I've got no time for these cunts though, because they also took the piss out of Brexit and Boris Johnson and the Queen, the fucking villains. And they obviously don't like Brexit because Belgium isn't even a real country. And have you seen how shit Belgians are with money? Belgians only known for two things, paedophilia and chocolate. The latter was purely invented to get to the kids, so, lure them over. So that's what Belgium's famous for. Fuck all. So obviously they're having a go at us. Britain took over half the fucking world, invented the common law system that basically runs most of the civilised places on Earth, and apparently Belgians think they can take the piss out of us. That's fucking funny. This is one of Nigel's finest hours.
Belgium is not a nation. It's an artificial creation. I know the Brits did it. Maybe once again we can be blamed. But the truth is there are two parts of Belgium. They speak different languages. They dislike each other intensely. There's no national TV station. There's no national newspaper. Belgium is not a nation, and maybe that's why you're happy to sign up to a higher European level. Well, if Belgium wants it, that's fine, but I can assure you, and you can scream and shout all you like, just look at the election result. You're losing, folks. You're losing. Brexit is the first brick out of the wall. You've learnt none of the lessons. The days of this project are over. We want to live in nation states, not false artificial creations. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely time. Oh, enjoy the European elections next year. They're going to be great fun.
How much of a mutant is Guy Verhofstadt? He just looks like Elton John's Down syndrome brother. Moving on, the women behind the Hollywood icon's downfall. The thing with this, what annoyed me is, again, got off the trigger warnings on the BBC. You may find some details in this article upsetting. The only part of this article I will find upsetting is that I didn't get the chance to suck that man's cock for a fucking 3-movie deal, because that is the best prostitution gig I've ever heard of. Rose McGowan and all these fucking women, they think making a decision. So you're on the casting couch, yeah, you want a 3-movie deal. That was what Rose McGowan got. And Harvey Weinstein says, suck us off and I'll put you in 3 films, and you then make the decision to promptly suck him off. I'm sorry, but that's not rape. That is extremely expensive prostitution. And hey, I'm a feminist. If some woman wants to whore herself out to get into a movie and get a shit ton of money, good luck to her. She negotiated that sweet deal. And yeah, that's what's upsetting about fucking Harvey Weinstein. I'd have to fight my granddad and me dad for his cock. If he was throwing that much money about, we'd all be battling over it, because that's a fucking good deal. Long reads. This is a good section of the BBC. You get some fucking drivel when the longer the story, the shitter it is on the BBC. Look at this one. I hated my homophobic stepdad. Then he came out. Fucking marvellous, eh? Then we were daisy chaining around the fucking living room. Nice one. Yeah, another non-story. So the story is, you didn't like your stepdad, then you found out he was gay. Now you like him. Marvellous. Definitely worth 65 million taxpayers' money, that. Fucking spot on. This was an interesting story. I think this one proves beyond any reasonable doubt that the left are completely deranged now, and it's the Conservatives who are a bit sensible, because Yorkshire Tea has urged social media users to try and be kind after the popular brand became embroiled in a row involving a leading Tory politician. Chancellor Rishi Sunak posted a picture of Friday of him making a huge tea round for his Treasury staff. The company said it was pretty shocked by the outcry, reminding people that Jeremy Corbyn had also posed with its products in 2017. And there's the tweet. They said, it's been a rough weekend. Lots of people got angry with us. So again, is that not proof positive for anyone who's in any doubt who's lost their minds? Because when Jezza paused with Yorkshire Tea in 2017, no problem. You didn't see Boris Johnson and fucking Priti Patel and all of the Tory supporters going, I'm never drinking Yorkshire Tea again because someone I dislike happens to have had a cup. Nobody gives a fuck. Just because he happens to be a Tory, and might I add, not that I care about these things, but he appears to be of ethnic origin, I thought they liked that. I thought that they could do no fucking wrong. But no, he posts an innocent tweet about making a good Yorkshire brew, and everyone goes fucking mental. Like, seriously loses their mind. Your brand is fucked. You parasitic hedge fund. This is the fucking death for your brand now. Goodbye to Yorkshire Tea. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? And Jezza's a lot more well known. I'm assuming Rishi Sunak is less right-wing than Jezza is left-wing. Jezza's a full-blown lefty socialist who's got mates in all these fucking far-left terrorist groups. And no one flips out when he has a cup of Yorkshire Tea. But apparently this fucking guy makes a fucking few wets for his staff. And we have to fucking launch a drone strike on Yorkshire Tea. It's fucking ridiculous. And just saying, it's unbelievable. Anyway, I sent a message to this dopey fucking scouser. Look, Tories are shamelessly trying to offer figure. Shut the fuck up. I was just like, do me a favour, you dippy scout communist. Jezza paused with Yorkshire Tea and caused no issues, and then you cunts have a meltdown. Yeah, they do. Fucking scousers. Why is it always scousers that are communists? What's that all about? Was there like a mass influx of fucking the Khmer Rouge? Did a few thousand Khmer Rouge fighters move to fucking Liverpool at some point in the 70s? I don't get it. So that's unbelievable. Fucking totally needless. Oh yeah, they got Salman Abedi on footage before the attack on Manchester Arena. Just talking about immigration, there's another one. Not only do they cost us billions of pounds, they do occasionally blow massive groups of children. So that's just a small thing maybe we should also mark down in the fucking negative column. And typical BBC shite, a millennial said that he's glad he became a Viking warrior because it stopped him being depressed. Again, 30-somethings acting like they're fucking 12. If you want to dress up like you're a Viking when you're 12-year-old, you enjoy yourself, son. But you're 30-fucking-1, Richard. Jesus wept. Go for a walk. Take the dog for a walk. And then read the paper. And just be an adult, you fucking dipshit. The BBC loves that shit. If they're not reporting about furries or lesbians, it's fucking Viking warriors. Anyway, relatively slow week, really, for the BBC. I think I'll leave it there. Oh, yeah, and Justin Bieber beat Elvis. See, I'm not even a big fan of Elvis. But when Justin Bieber's smashing his records, that's when you know that this generation's got no fucking taste at all. Still, it was remarkably light on communism this week. Right, I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.